Hi, my name is Sabrina Boyce, and I'm a postdoctoral scholar at the Center on Gender Equity and Health at the University of California, San Diego. Today, I'd like to share with you some of our work from the Reaching Married Adolescents in Niger study that was completed in 2019. This study was funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and my work by the National Institute of Child Health and Human Development of the NIH. The Reaching Married Adolescents in Niger program was implemented by Pathfinder International and utilized a community health worker model to increase healthy birth spacing among married adolescent girls and their husbands in the Dosso region of Niger. Dr. Silverman from UCSD led our team in evaluating this model using a 4-arm cluster randomized control trial to look at effects after 1 year. In the 12 villages included in Arm 1, participating couples received household visits by community health workers. In the 12 villages of Arm 2, wives and husbands separately participated in gender-specific small group sessions. In Arm 3, participants received both interventions, and Arm 4 was the control. From each village, 25 couples were recruited to participate in the evaluation. The study I want to present today assessed the program's impact on secondary outcomes, and that secondary outcome is gender norms among husbands. While we have previously determined that the intervention was successful in improving the main outcomes, which were family planning use and reducing intimate partner violence, we wanted to know if any of the intervention arms had an effect on perceived gender norms in the communities. For this analysis, we used data from the husbands. There were 1,080 of them included in the sample. And to assess effects, we used a hierarchical model with clustering at both the village level and for multiple observations on husbands. And we focused on a difference in differences estimator to estimate the effects above and beyond baseline differences between the arms and time trends. We also used inverse probability of sensory weighting to reduce selection bias related to loss to follow-up. The survey items we used to assess norms were social norms adaptations of items from the Gender Equitable Men's Scale, or the GEM scale, originally developed by Promundo. They included the preamble, people in your community think that, and this gets at second order beliefs, a type of social norm. And we asked about things like, people in your community think that a man should have the final word about decisions in the home. At baseline across these 5 items, husbands scored on average 4.1 on the scale that ranged from 0 to 5, indicating a pretty high level of perceived inequitable gender norms at baseline. By follow-up, we found that husbands who were in villages who received the small group intervention had a risk difference of 0.62, so a reduction in scores relative to controls, indicating a reduction in inequitable norms. While this was the only group that experienced a statistically significant change, it's important to note and observe here in this graph at the bottom right, the opposite effect was observed in the household visit villages. Likely because there was no peer-to-peer exchange of ideas in the household model, perceived inequitable gender norms may have actually been reinforced by this approach. These opposing effects of the household visits and the small groups likely canceled each other out to produce a negligible effect in the combination arm. While there were limitations to this very real-world complex evaluation, we used the strongest analytical techniques we were aware of to help account for things like loss to follow-up and baseline imbalances. Some potential sources of confounding remain to be explored to understand the effects we observed in the household visits. In conclusion, the study provides evidence of reductions in inequitable gender norms among husbands and married adolescent girls that were attributable to receipt of the RMA small group intervention. This group-based intervention allowed for the exchange of ideas across male peers, which in turn allowed for the perception of norms to change. This is one of a limited number of rigorous evaluations of social norms-focused interventions in low and middle income contexts that have shown effects on social norms, and it could offer a valuable model for improving norms in similar settings. Our next steps in this research are to assess if these changes in social norms contributed to or were a mechanism behind the improvements in contraceptive use in IPV that we observed. Thank you very much for your time and for the opportunity to share this research with you.